A couple minutes early. I did that so I could adjust my little camera. Make sure that I was up here where you can see me. Yay! Come on, phone, you can catch up anytime now. There we are. Hello, Sylvia. I figured you and Lynn would both be asleep. Hi, Mom and Pop. How are you tonight? Yes, I moved it to one day instead of two, only because you said something Saturday. I am live. How are you, Nancy? I'm live and I am a live. So, yeah, I'm here. Let's see. I want to turn this a little bit more. And it takes a minute for the live stream to show. Come on. Trying to get it so you guys can see my Serger and me. And that's the wrong direction. Sorry, if Sherlock's here, I'm giving her the weebies. The weebie jeebies. All right. Yeah, okay, so now you can see it. Here's my Serger itself, and I am working on a jelly roll quilt tonight. Hi, Crystal. How are you tonight? And I have that silly little icon bar over to the right that hides half the chat. There we go. All right, so before I start, hubby should be home any minute, so he may interrupt or talk to us or whatever. But I'm trying to, I've turned on lights for him. Dinner's ready. He's got a drink. I need a drink. That's what it is. I need my drink. There we go. Not too bad, Crystal. Not too bad. Last week was rough, but fingers crossed, things seem to be evening out. And it was rough. I went to a doctor. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Went to a foot doctor. Hadn't been to one in ever. And it was an interesting experience. But I had family members who were, hello, Alfonso. I had family members who were in, hello, Lori. How are you tonight? We're in the hospital. We're having surgery, this, that, and the other. And I was kind of worried about a couple of them. One of them was supposed to be a really big surgery. Turned out to be like 2 hours. So I'm really, really happy about that. One of my cousin's husbands had to have either 4 or 5 surgeries. His first surgery was for tummy problems. And then when they went in to operate on him, they couldn't finish the surgery. So they had to go in a couple more times to try to get everything done. Been outside landscaping. That's always nice. All right, so you guys can see the quilt that's hanging up over here. My friend picked something else instead of that one. So I've still got the sewn version. Hello, Mom. How are you tonight? Big squishy hugs to you. I wanted to give you a hug back Saturday, but I watched the end of it after you'd already gone off the air. I had to go to the little girl's room. Y'all know how that goes. I try to be on time and consistent. I like my Monday nights, but the weather doesn't like me. So I'm playing with my Serger tonight, and I'm pretty sure that Colleen is lurking. I hope if she is and she has questions, she'll ask, because she inherited one and she is scared of it. And I know, hi, Tracy. I know a lot of people who aren't super comfortable with their sergers, and so I thought, well, let me show you how to do. Oh, that's dusty. Let me show you how to use it a little bit. Maybe that'll help those who are intimidated get a better feel for how to use this. So what I'm doing tonight is I'm recreating that jelly roll quilt, but using my serger to do it. And so you guys didn't have to sit here and watch me sew each of these little pieces to each of these strips. I did most of them before I came live tonight. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how I put those together. My knife is still on, but only so that I can trim threads if I need to. And all I did there, let me bring this back over here where you guys can see it, is I serged the strip that I had to the strip that was already going. And then this is the end. And I'm putting these little 2-inch pieces in here. If you were doing a quilt without these little add-ons that I like to do, you wouldn't even have to do this. You could just, as you put each one through, you just clip it behind there and keep going. Or you could add a strip and a little 2.5-inch piece together as you go, and then go back and put the strips together. But it's personal preference, however you like to do it. And for me, if I do that steadily, I will end up with my hands hurting. So all I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that everything's lined up. And I'm going to do just a 1/4 inch. You don't have to cut off fabric with a serger every time you sew. And the way mine works is there's this little white edge here. And if I run my fabric right along that white edge of the serger, then it doesn't cut anything off, except some stray threads. And I think that I had mentioned in my video for the sewing machine, these whites in this package seem to like to shred along the edges, which is another reason that I wanted to use the serger to do this, because that'll seal my edges and I don't have to worry about that fraying. And then after I do both ends of it, I just cut my little, you can cut your tails off completely if you want, or just cut them off partially. And I just drop them in my little serger bin. And then I fold it back, and then I'm going to put the last strip on here. Yep, and if you haven't already, Sherlock, would you please put Sylvia's link in? She was here, but it's like midnight for her, so I didn't figure she'd stay. She came in just long enough to say hello and give us a thumbs up, which was nice of her. Okay, and then now I've got my entire strip set sewn. And it might need to, Crystal. And I'm going to put another little piece here at this end. But I'm going to put white in. And this is that white on white I got from Marshall's Dry Goods. So it has a right side and a wrong side. I was talking about how I like to put a piece of fabric that's completely unrelated to my quilt so that I know for myself, hi Deborah, where the start point or the end point is. So there's my piece. Hi Math Geek, how are you tonight? I started just a minute or two early. I have a Baby Lock Imagine serger. It has auto threading and it has automatic tension. So I don't have to change the tension whenever I start a new project. If you have a different serger, you may need to look in your book and see what your book says. But the reason I like the Imagine is I don't have to fight with the tension, and I don't have to fight with threading it because it's got jet air threading. Those, that's cute. Okay, so here is the beginning of my quilt thing. And you may notice that that little strip is not the full length of the normal strips for a jelly roll. I cut it roughly in half, probably in thirds. I just wanted this one shorter than the rest of the strips. Otherwise, your little 2-inch pieces that you put in here are going to be, they're going to land in the same place. There won't be any variation in them. And I folded over the edge of that fabric whenever I first sewed this. So all I did was I took my little snips and I snipped that thread right there. I'm going to run this little end back through the serger just really quick. And there is a little tail from the thread on there. So I'm going to make sure that that tail goes in the area that I'm cutting off. Run it through real quick, and that's an easy fix. And now the rest of this is, I am spoiled with this fancy serger. Come out of there. I is spoiled. I bought that serger for myself, though. I had it before I met Lane. All right, so now what I'm doing is I have both of the ends, and all I'm going to worry about putting together right now is just those two ends. All of this that's down here on the floor is going to stay down there on the floor until I need it. So I'm going to start feeding it under my serger. And unlike with a sewing machine, I don't have to worry about which way my seams go. And the reason I don't have to is because the serger is going to cut that edge and serge it together, and there won't be excess fabric in the seam. Now, the only question I have is, can you guys hear me okay if I talk and serge at the same time? Is that too loud? Sherlock, you know of all people, I went through heck to get here. My Wayne is the bomb, though. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how you put your jelly roll together when you're putting this out there. You can see in this one over here that I've got fabrics that are the same that touch each other. You cannot avoid it. You can hear me okay. You can't avoid it. You can do this any way you want. You're not going to be able to avoid having two fabrics that are the same touch each other. But all I'm doing is I'm making sure that my fabric runs along the white edge here, and that any threads or thread tails that are sticking out just go over towards the knife. And the one question that I keep getting from people about sergers is, aren't you afraid of cutting yourself on the knife? No, I'm not. And the reason is because the knife is behind, there's a little door over here, and the knife is behind that door. So I couldn't touch it if I wanted to. But, you know, if you're super clumsy and you really tried, I guess you could cut yourself on it, but you'd have to really work at it. Of course, I also say you'd have to really work to put a needle through your finger. And guess who did that? So, I don't know. I may just be thinking wrong. But my foot on my serger has a long nose up here at the front, so you're not going to get your finger too close to it. And for this, since you've got to manage those edges and make sure they match, you're not going to get your hand up there super close anyway. Now, aside from putting the little pieces, the 2.5-inch squares in that I did, this is the row that takes the longest to do. Because if you're using a full jelly roll for this, it's 1,600 inches long. So you are sewing 800 inches of seam right here. beauty of the serger is that if there's something fraying, you're not having to, worry about that edge because the serger's going to close it in. And if you've got excess thread sticking out, as long as your knife is turned on, then, oh, yeah, that hurts. Yeah, and this seals in that edge so the fray doesn't keep happening. How big is a needle on a long arm? I got the one from my Juki, which is a 90-12, and I've still got, you can't see it, but I've still got a dent in my finger, or my fingernail. Oh, and that took what seemed like forever to heal, because I yanked my finger back when I did it. I'm sure you did too. So I ripped open like the end of my finger. And the nail bed still hasn't healed. Yeah, Deborah, you're still adjusting to the new knee though, right? Now, as far as seam allowance goes, the Jelly Roll quilt isn't, super unforgiving. I wouldn't piece something that was going to be unforgiving on here. But I'm aiming for the inside edge of my foot at the front so that I'll have a consistent seam all the way down. But I think that I told you guys when I was sewing up the other one that I really felt like it's faster to do this with the serger, and I really do. I don't have to worry about folding seams each direction or whatever. Oh, I won't say that there's no chance they could do it, but I was doing FMQ on my Juki, and Wayne called my name or something, or I thought he called my name, and I kept the machine going and looked away, and that's when I got my stuff. It's probably what happened with Mom, too. Yeah, it seems like you just put a car through your finger, doesn't it, Mom? And we are low-key talking about me getting a long arm. I don't do it for business. And I'm still kind of like, And I don't know if you guys can tell, but right here, this 2.5-inch strip is like 1/8 of an inch wider than the other one. So using the serger will take care of that because you're matching up one side completely. And then when you go to sew the next seam, you're going to do the same thing. Oh, yeah. You can't do it. If you're FMQ or doing anything with a needle, you really can't be looking at anything else. Oh. Mine hurt, mine hurt, mine hurt. Y'all may notice that I've given you a very limited view of my room tonight. That's because it's a wreck. I have a TV mount coming. As a matter of fact, it's on the porch. I just got to go bring it in. I'm going to have, I know Mom said something a while back about having a TV that she puts her chat on. And I want to do that. Ow, Crystal. Ow, ow, ow. Oh my. Yeah. Well, and the bad thing about it is it's like when you're working on free motion quilting, those little hopper feet, unless they have a spoon on the bottom, it's really easy to get your finger in there. I don't even know if they make a spoon for a Juki. And I'm not looking for one. I just wanted to throw that in there in case anybody thought I had one. I don't. Mom, I meant to send you a message today too and forgot to. I'll do that after the live. Crystal, my finger hurts for you. I've seen, yeah. Well, I have a little 24-inch TV in here, and it will let me broadcast from my phone to the TV. And so I'm going to have, that's why we bought the mount. I'm going to have Wayne put the monitor up for me, either over on the wall behind me so I can face that direction when I do lives, or on this wall right here so that I can see it if I'm working right here. I haven't decided for sure if I want to continue to work on this surface or move it over that way. Oh, Crystal, that hurts. But I know several people, me included, who have at least nicked their fingers during lives when they were cutting fabric. And I really try hard now not to cut fabric during lives. I just barely graze the edge of my finger, but I know Tori from Seems Legit cut her finger pretty badly a while back. And her reaction to doing that was not YouTube safe. But she basically told YouTube to stuff it if they didn't like it. I wasn't watching the live, but somebody that was watching it told me about it, and I was like, well, YouTube really can't fault somebody if they come out with something stronger than behold if they get hurt on camera. At least I don't think so. I mean, I'll freely admit I talk like a sailor when I'm not online. But I try not to do it online. I grew up in a house of cops, and I worked in a prison while I was going to college. And then I went into the legal field, so, I'm probably not going to sound like the saint next door all the time either. I just want to point out I am working in a kind of small space here. So I'm running all of my little fabrics over here onto my cutting mat. And then when I get ready to do the next round of serging for the next row, I'll just pull the end that's up there down here to match this end and keep going. And I thought this was going to go a little bit faster for you guys. Oh, it's only been about 15 minutes. It is absolutely realistic for a seasoned sewer to do the entire quilt top, including joining the strips, in under an hour. I've seen it done. Valerie Nesbitt did it and timed herself. It took her 45 minutes. Ouch, Alfonso. Did you hurt yourself doing that? Yeah. Well, and then the other thing is another person, Kathy, way back, cut herself on a live, Kathy from Kathy's Quilts. And first thing she did was stick her finger in her mouth. And the day she did it, I was like, ew. And then it wasn't 2 weeks later. Watch what you say. You know what I mean? Wasn't 2 weeks later, I was on a live and I cut my finger. And what was the first thing I did? Stick my stupid finger in my mouth. I was like, okay, so that was instinctive. I worked in a prison pharmacy for a long time, so, I thought I had broken myself of sticking my hands in my mouth. But apparently some things you still do it with. So, yeah. I did, when I put the needle through it, I jumped up and ran to get water on it, but it didn't help. Mom, did you go get stitches in your finger, or did you go to the doctor for it? Or did you do like I did and put a bandage on it and keep going? Oh, you have the. What are you going to do to it, Deborah? Deborah has a purse that's in timeout. I have way too many projects in timeout right now. I have to untime out something and get it finished and out of here. Oh, yeah. It just seems like it's the right thing to do when you do that. I don't know why. I mean, it's instinctive. It's not like you did it on purpose. So I thought, well, this is just not cool. Why were you drilling a hole in a wooden ball, though? Now I'm curious about the rest of that story. Yes, accidents do happen. Making the fastening strap different than the pattern. Oh, yeah. What happened to what video, Susan? Anybody else having problems seeing me or hearing me? Have a good night, Alfonso. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you for coming. Okay, thank you. I just was worried. Maybe Susan thinks the Serger is. Oh, there was an. I turned them down to minimal, but apparently that's not sufficiently low enough. I can't opt out completely. I haven't figured out how. It's not so bad if it's a video, but if it's a live stream, I think that means that people are going to miss something. Or does it just pick back up where I was? I don't know. Oh, that's a pain. I'm sorry, Susan. I have been trying to figure out how to say no to the ads from YouTube. I mean, we are all here to make money, so, some ads are okay, but I'd prefer they didn't slap them in the middle of lives. Although, considering what I'm doing is boring, the ad might be a nice break. Now, does anybody have questions about using a serger? And it doesn't have to be about what I'm doing right now. I'll be happy to answer anything I can. I know at least one person who has said they're scared of their serger is here. Right. Exactly. I don't want them missing content. Because if you miss that one little detail, your whole block's going to come out funny. Deborah, why does the serger scare you? Because of the blade? Do you have one? Or have you ever used one? Because you'd almost have to put your hands up underneath the needles on this in order to catch that blade. It's possible. I guess, but you'd have to either work really hard or be like not paying attention to what you were sewing at all. And the reason I stop every so often is because I'm pulling up what's down here, and I'm also lining up the edges of my fabric of both strips so that they will line up where I want them to on the serger. I have air threading on my machine, and it threads the upper and lower looper. Sergers, the knotting or the chaining that it does, it uses what they call loopers to do it. But you thread the needles yourself, or some of them have like this one has a needle threader similar to what's on my regular sewing machine, but it's manual. It's not a electronic thing. My embroidery machine has the coolest needle threader I've ever seen, and I don't know why that's not standard on everything. Because you literally pull it up, catch it under a loop, and bring it to the side of the machine, and then it just, boop, there you are. Threading the serger is a pain, and yes, tying off and looping the old thread to the new is the way to do it. I have a brother, 1634, which is a basic serger. It's like under $200. And I used it for a long time. I still get it out sometimes if I'm doing multiple colors or need just serger chain for a project. And it's a pain to thread. But the first thing you want to do when you buy a serger is you want to go find the absolute best threading video you can find for that serger. And watch that video and keep it bookmarked because you're going to need it again. And sergers don't thread in the same order that sewing machines do. And your serger may thread, usually you thread the upper looper, then the lower looper, then needle 2, then needle 1. And your machine may have a different thread pattern, so always refer to your book, but definitely find a good threading video. If you buy a brother serger from like Walmart or wherever, that 1034D or 1634D, the last thing in the book and the first thing you should do is oil your machine before you use it. And you will void your warranty on a brother if you don't oil it before you use it. Now, on the Baby Lock Imagine that I have, there's nothing that's user serviceable, but it also specifically tells you in the book, do not put oil in your air threading thing. So, mine's probably due for its 10,000 mile checkup anyway. But Math Geek, if you want to use the serger, I would go buy the $200 Walmart one and use it. And make sure that you really want a serger before you spend. This one was, I want to say $1,500 when I bought it, and that was 8 or 10 years ago. So you definitely want to know before you invest in that. And face it, there's a lot of stuff you could buy for your sewing room besides just fabric for $1,500. I mean, you could buy an embroidery machine, a ton of batting and fabric, a new sewing machine. Sorry. No, she got it. Mom, she stole that Serger. Not literally, but she was at a yard sale and found it. I was like, yeah. I don't remember what she paid for it, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't even close to what it was going for on eBay. And we all know eBay's like the land of lost causes. So I was like, if you don't buy it for me. I take it. And Colleen got a Husqvarna gifted to her by her mother-in-law. And I'm waiting for her to get that out and play with it because it looks like it's got more bells and whistles than mine does. We all know for sure it's got a handle on it. Yeah, well, if I had been, I made bags and I made tons of clothes because I've always been on the big side. Even when I lost weight, I was still heavy. Even when I got down to what my goal weight was. So for me, being able to make clothes that fit me and, looked good was higher priority than quilting. And I've always made quilts, but I didn't get really into it until about the same time I started making bags. So I started making bags and quilts about 10 years ago. And I have a cover stitch too that I use for like necklines and sleeves and that kind of stuff. And I have a little, like one of those cutie frames for quilting. But I have never gotten the hang of using my Juki on that frame. You were just thinking about the handle, Tracy? Yeah, Deborah, you should. Yeah, Mom, I finally threw out all but just a very, see, I looked away and I moved it, but I'll fix it. I finally threw away all but just a couple of spools of thread from my mom, and I only kept them because they were pretty or on wooden spools, that kind of thing. But I kept trying to use that thread on my sewing machine, thinking, well, if it's going the piece of quilt, it'll be okay when I quilt.
Well, Amazon apparently came. There's a box on the porch from Amazon.
Okay.
Also, I just came across with the truck. Once they fill that in one more time,
I'm live.
I'm going to go back over. I'm walking back and forth from here on out. Because what just happened now?
What?
My front tire just almost dropped into the hole.
Hi, Wayne. From everybody
Hello.
in chat.
In fact, it thudded into the hole as it cratered underneath my tire. I wasn't going very fast because I figured if it collapses and I'm going fast, it'll kill me. You know what I mean? So.
And the guys from Once had flown in and out all day.
Yeah.
We live on a private road, and there is a culvert that services 3 houses and 2 ranches. And the one of the ranches has been bringing semis in and out regularly. And with rain, that collapses the culvert. So it needs to be fixed. But if we fix it ourselves, then I guess we're going to have to stand out there with a shotgun and tell them they can't bring semis through. And I'm not in the mood to guard the road. My personal feeling is that the dude who's been bringing the semis in needs to fix it. We have two little bitty cars and a pickup truck. A little pickup truck. We aren't the ones running over the galvanized pipe and breaking it. So we're getting there. I should have probably done part of this before I came on too. But it's still going faster than it would with a sewing machine as far as I'm concerned. And I wasn't warning him so he couldn't talk. I just didn't want him to say anything bad on here. Yeah, that was funny, Tracy. Poor Colleen. She's not even here and I'm picking on her. She's going to send me a text and go, hey, girl. I won't subject you guys to watching the whole of the next round, but I want to show you how fast you get down there for sure. I kind of feel like I'm channeling, I think this one's 5200, Math Geek. No, 1500, not 52. I don't know where that came from. But I feel like I'm channeling Jenny Doan because she was showing this on something she was doing with long strips of fabric, and she was kind of pulling it out flat, leaning back and just letting it go. I'm not good with doing that with a sewing machine, but it is a great technique to use with a serger if you're doing something like this. Got to look for gray and blue for heavy stroke ball. I have the squares in a square that Mom did a while back. I have that pattern downloaded and pinned to a jelly roll and a solid that I'm going to make for Wayne. Movement in squares, maybe. That's on my agenda of things to make. You may get pushed after Christmas at the rate things are going right now. About the same size as the one on the wall. And that one is, I would say, a throw. It's not quite a twin. I want to say it's 58 by 60-ish. According to the charts I looked up online, 40 strips is supposed to make a twin. But I think that they're assuming you're going to add borders to it. And I don't know if I'm going to add borders to that or not. Oh, I used to love going and looking at Christmas lights, especially when you've got little kids to ride with you. I used to watch the kids more than the lights, obvious. Guess I still do when I go. I haven't been in a few years now. Every once in a while, Wayne and I'll get wild and woolly and go do stuff like that. Where are you going to see the Christmas lights at, Deborah? Because I know you're in Illinois. So are you going to go like downtown Chicago or, oh, Tennessee and North Carolina? That'll be pretty. Especially if you get lucky enough to have snow while you're up there. Not while you're traveling, but on the night you go to look at the Christmas lights. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Got family there. Then I entirely see the point. Almost all of ours is in Florida. We have a son in Toledo. Most of you probably already know that. I wouldn't mind going up there. They can't really travel around Christmas time because they help take care of her grandparents. My son and his wife do. Almost there, guys. Seems like it's taking forever, doesn't it? Still going faster than with the sewing machine. I haven't had to worry about is my bobbin running out? Did it miss a stitch? Hello, Lorraine. How are you tonight? I don't think Wayne's getting online. Yeah. So you made your own jelly rolls, did you there, Lorraine? Awesome. Nancy, that's not my husband, Wayne. That's a gentleman whose name is Wayne. He's in San Francisco, I think. Wayne, did I just say that wrong? Are you in San Diego instead? I don't remember for sure. I just know California. You had to refresh. Uh-oh. Did I freeze for you? annoying. What are you going to do with your jelly roll top now? I hope it, well, I hope it's your end and not mine. We've got good weather here tonight. Or we had expected good weather. Ugh. That's no fun, Deborah. I mean, we all like to eat, but notice how none of us like to go to the grocery store. I remember my son one time, he came in. I had gone to the grocery store that day. And he comes into my room and he's like, there ain't nothing in this house to eat. I'm like, the refrigerator and the cupboards are full. He's like, that's all ingredients, Mom. I had to laugh about that because he was right. We didn't buy lots of snacky foods. Couldn't afford them. Yeah, shopping's not my favorite thing either. I don't worry about whether the end goes around or is all twisty, but it does make a difference whenever it wraps itself around the cord for your camera and starts pulling on it. It's like, what is this? We are at the end. I was going to show you that if it was twisted at the end, you just cut it. But I had to cut it to get it off my camera cord. So what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to cut it to make it even. And I'm going to serge it down to the end. And you guys saw me do this with my other serged quilt. I have a piece. I thought I had a piece of white. I guess I must have put it at the other end, did I? So I'm going to hold on to this end, and I'm just going to find the other end, which I probably already dropped on the floor. I did. Yeah, Lorraine, that's I keep saying it to everybody. You know, you've got to cut that first strip in half or in thirds or something. And yeah, I made that same mistake the first one I made. So don't feel bad. I think that everybody makes that mistake when they start, unless they've watched a really good tutorial. All I'm doing is looking for the other end, and then I'm going to drop everything in between back down on the floor. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up, and I did. I used the white at the other end. Let me move my cup here. I just used it to hold the end. So here's the first end of my quilt, and here's the back end of my quilt. Well, my strip for right now, because it's not a quilt yet. And then all I'm going to do is repeat the same thing I just did. And that is, I'm going to sew or serge down that one edge. And I'm going to do that until I have, I think that's 16 across. So if you guys want to hang out and watch, I'm going to be here. So at least to do one more. And again, if you have any questions, ask. That's why I be here. And what do you guys do, like, when you're in your sewing room by yourself and you're obviously not recording videos? I usually set something on top of it. I have a glass candle, and I just used my drink cup to do it. But these rows get easier after you do the first one. And you notice I didn't even bother hand pressing it open. Nothing. I just folded and started. And I'm not worried about whether it's twisted at that far end, because I'll do the same thing I just did, which is just cut it and keep going. This is, I can't think of a much more forgiving quilt pattern than this one. Yeah, I've been listening to audiobooks, but it's hard to hear them over the machine sometimes. I have them on my phone. I've listened to quite a few here lately. Wayne listens to audiobooks when he drives, and he likes the long ones because he drives a couple hours each way. So, you know, he doesn't want to finish a book in 2 days. And listen to North Indian music or Native Indian music. The heart is hiding the word. I do a lot of talking to myself, which is probably a good skill for a YouTuber. Not so great if you want people to believe that you are sane. Yeah, I have the Audible. Because at one point I was listening to tons of them all the time, and then I kind of got away from it. I used to watch, or listen to, not watch, Project Runway. But I always got distracted when they did the fashion show at the end. And then I would sit there and argue with the judges about what they thought was good and bad. That wasn't good for my stress levels. I mean, some of these shows are from 2005. Am I really going to change Heidi Klum's mind that that dress was just gorgeous? Probably not. So then I got into the Great British Baking Show. I do not need to be watching that. And I really would like to watch the Great British Sewing Bee, but that doesn't appear to be available any legal way in the US. Oh, I cannot do the crime documentaries. No, thank you. I saw a short on YouTube today that I swear I hope somebody took it down. It was, they were applauding the police for fast response to a guy who drove through a crowd. But the first 28 seconds of the video were the guy driving through the crowd. And, you know, it's not Grand Theft Auto. Those were real people. I did not go look further into the story because, no. I can handle some things, but that just isn't in my repertoire. I like historic, blah, 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 historic documentaries too. I really like the Edwardian house or the Edwardian farm, the Victoria. They do like from Middle Ages all the way up to World War II, I think, with rationing. Now it's all Great Britain, but it's interesting. I kind of wish they had a series similar to that for the US, but I don't know how well that would go over in the US. I'm into that historic kind of stuff. I took 2 extra history classes my senior year of high school. They were easy for me. I was already into history, and they were AP classes, so I got some of my humanities stuff out of the way while I was still in high school, which was nice when I did go back to college, because I got to opt out of like half a dozen classes because of that. What was really funny is the one class I did have to take was sociology, and I had taken a class from the same professor in high school. And I walked into class the first day, she's like, "Oh, I remember you." I was like, I hope that's good. You listen to National Geographic? Yeah. Yeah, they are, especially when they, you know, really like cook the food and live on the actual farm and economy of what was going on at the time. One of those ones, though, about, I think it was the 1940s house. They lived for a year like that. And the one lady was like starving herself to feed everybody else. That disappointed me. I was a little concerned that they weren't taking better care of that person. Yeah, why not? Why not, Deborah? Because I would think if they're filming somebody 24/7, they would notice that that person wasn't eating. You know what I mean? What do they think she was doing? Sneaking out of bed at night and eating? I don't know. That's the kind of thing I just worry about with people. Time, team, and... Oh. There used to be, and I know the name of the show is Connections, but they've apparently revamped that show and done a modern version that I don't enjoy as much as I used to enjoy the older version. There was a bespectacled guy named James who did that one. I used to really enjoy those. The new one seems to have the same guy doing the series, but he's, of course, a bit older. But it doesn't have the same charm or something that it used to have. Is that the right name of him? Where he links like papyrus to gunpowder. Yeah, what is his name? You can see his face too. He's got like a round face and a receding hairline and a lovely voice. Very pleasant to listen to. But I think he's probably what turned me on to history as a kid, because he could take any two crazily different things throughout history and link them to, this led to this, and this invention led to that. Really interesting. I think it's a BBC show. And I liked the first few things that Leonard Nimoy did that were science related. But then they started having him read things that seemed like they weren't necessarily accepted as fact. And God help me, if William Shatner is narrating anything, I'm sorry. I'm not watching. Because I don't care what he's saying. Poor William Shatner. I'm so sorry. I loved him in Star Trek. But all the stuff he does here recently, it sounds like he's trying to sell you, ice cubes to Eskimos. And I can't unhear it in his voice anymore. Wayne watched Boston Legal. Oh, James Burke. Yes, that was his name. Wayne watched Boston Legal, and I've always liked James Spader. Couldn't watch it, couldn't listen to it. Had to tune that one out, folks. Because all I could hear was, William Shatner trying to sell you something. Sure, he's a very nice man, and he's in his 80s, and he's still an active farmer and horseman, and go William, but, Yeah, he was awesome. And I don't know if that was him coming up with all the historic stuff or if he was just the front man for those shows. But I enjoyed the way he taught it. And this is true small space sewing of a quilt top, guys. Some of these fabrics are so cute. One of them's got bunnies on it. Bye, Math. You have a great night. Oh, a meeting for work. I hope it gets better. Did you see the pork and beans? Or the pork and rice?
Me?
Yeah.
Is there porcupine out there?
There's food in the hot pot. Gotta hope there's not a porcupine out there. Daisy's been out there half the evening. She goes out and plays with the cats, and the cats just look at her like, you again? She goes out and wrestles. Whether the cats want to wrestle or not, guys. I should film that and put it up. That would probably go over like gangbusters. She's mean. She goes out there and just chases them down and pounces. You know, like Tigger used to do in the Winnie the Pooh movies? She does that. And then the cats apparently don't mind it. Because by the time I call her in, it's her and the cats walking up to the door together. Either that or the cats are coming to tell on her. And she never lets them get a word in edgewise. Mommy, she beats us up. Just keep pushing that pile back.
Well, they delivered our wall mounts.
Yay.
I can made it across.
Well, I thought I was way closer to done. Ooh, no, I bet they're not, Deborah. Wayne has been putting his sciatica to the test, too. With him walking back and forth where past the culvert to park at the neighbor's house, it's tough on his sciatica. I was hoping that our little truck would do it, but he says it was giving him a scary moment tonight too, so that's not good. Should have used your cane. Yeah. I went to the podiatrist last week and I didn't take my cane or my walker because it was first floor and it was like walk in the door. And that was, I should have probably taken my walker because it was in, out, go here, go there. And that was after waiting like an hour and a half. It was like bathrooms at the far end of the world. Yeah, it was not fun. And then, any of y'all ever had dry feet? I went to the podiatrist because it was hurting so bad, and he sold me foot soaks. I was like, okay, why are you selling me foot soaks? Well, it's either that or cut your foot. And I'm like, what? It's not hello, let's start cutting on your toes. No, thank you. You don't want to cut them off, you just wanted to biopsy them. I'm like, no. I don't know you, but call me maybe never. I did ask for a referral to a different doctor, though, because that one was like, woo-wee. And his wife, who's also his receptionist, has it is this big. It's a rock hanging around her neck. Not to mention the, 4 or 5 carat diamond on her left hand. I was like, yeah, we know what you do with your money. She's a well-kept woman. It was just kind of bizarre. I sent an email to my doctor and said, does this podiatrist always work? Yeah, Wayne, you got experience with weird foot doctors too. I mean, this guy sold me these foot soaps that are supposed to be good for what's wrong with my feet. I get home and start reading the ingredients, and they're basically Epsom salts and essential oils. And he charged me $140 for them. I was like, dang, I must have sucker tattooed on my forehead. I won't be buying no more of that for sure. I have Epsom salts and essential oils here. So eventually I'll get to the end of this. I feel like everybody in the world's gone to sleep already. Gone, really? As long as it's going to take you, woman. It's actually going pretty quickly. I hear a fork on a plate. I think he found the food. Good. He's been trying to eat earlier in the day, but when he's not getting home until like 7 o'clock, that's a little tough. Oh, there you go. I love it. Lasagna. Lorraine, do you mind being called lasagna by autocorrect? That's kind of funny. We have to give Lorraine a new name now. He's going to be lasagna forever. Oh. Have fun, Lorraine. Waited the whole night to be able to say that, right? Lori about the same. All right, so here is, let's see if I get this up here close enough so you guys can see it. So now I've sewn 4 rows, and you can see that all of my seams are enclosed by the serger, which means that none of this thread is, or none of this fabric is going to fray. And I'm just going to partially unfold it, and we're going to stop here. But I'll just be sewing another like 2 or 3 rows. And all I'm going to do here, I've got the end right here on my shoulder. I'm just going to kind of pull it open. I'm not going to finger press it. But it's 4 rows wide, and I think it ends up being 16 by the time I sew all the folds. But it's going to double, so, or maybe 32. So the next row that I sew will end up being 8 wide, then 16, then 32. So I've got 3 left. But the next row that I sew will take 10 minutes at most. The rest of it is really fast. But I have been on here more than an hour, and I know that's a long time for anybody to sit, especially me. But I'm unfolding, and I'm just going to drop all of the unfolded stuff down onto the floor in just a minute, as soon as I get the two ends touching, and then I can just start the next section. So there we go. Questions on any of that? You guys don't ask me any questions. That could be good or bad. It either means I'm explaining it really well, or I'm so far out in left field, y'all are just going, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And I do love the fabrics in this. This is so pretty. I'm already letting it drop to the floor. So here's one end, and here's the other. And if you watch, you can see right there, that's my first strip. So now all I'm going to do, and you can sew this either right or left, whichever you're comfortable doing, or serge it. But I'm going to pull it up so that I have an even line all the way across. And then I'm just going to start serging again. And I'm not going to make you guys watch that. I'm going to say goodbye. But I'm going to put it under my serger, so when I come back to it in a little bit, I can just start where I left off at. Okay, so nobody has any questions tonight, huh? Okay, that's good. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and watching me play with my serger. I'm going to finish this, and then I've got a couple of other serger videos that I want to film tomorrow. So it'll be up here for a day or two in case you need guidance on something. I've got it close by so I could make a short or send a picture or something in Discord or in the community tab. You guys all have a great night. Again, thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here with me. Bye for now, guys. Then let me go figure out how to kill the live.